Hello everyone, Ember Power here, back today with a different kind of video. As you may have guessed by the title, I'm going to be taking a look at missing features or unused features that weren't used in the Pokemon TCG during the Sun and Moon expansion. I'll be primarily using the games, like the base games, Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, as inspiration for this. However, if I've missed any features, maybe from Ultra Sun and Moon or from the anime that didn't make it into the card game, then of course do let me know down below and I'll offer some like thoughts, I guess, and I could potentially do a sequel for Sword and Shield as well if this video takes off. So just looking at missed locations, there's some really cool ones that I thought were really interesting, and they just didn't make it into the card game, sadly. Seafolk Village, for example, on the left here, featured, Wailord, that was Delmise. It just has a very cool aesthetic, and I was very surprised that they didn't just make a stadium card or something based off this location. It just seems like a bit of a waste, to be honest. And then on the right here, we have the very infamous Executor Island, which I think is a really sweet location. Even the little Magikarp boat that you used to get around a bit's nice. Just this whole idea of one island based around Executor, maybe that's too much for a card because obviously it would be fairly limited to like how much interactions you could get if it was only based around the Lowland Executor itself. But I still think it's like an interesting location and could have made for a very interesting card. So obviously if I've missed any locations or there's obviously there's multiple locations that I could have used here. There's a beach full of Pukumukus. I don't remember the name of it though. Where Acerola stays at the abandoned supermarket with Mimikyu. I think that would have made a nice location as well. Just so many different locations that could have been cool in the card game. So the second point is Totem Pokemon, which, as far as I can tell, never got any kind of reference, mention, or anything at all really in the TCG, which is strange considering they make up the bulk of the initial game of Pokemon Sun and Moon. So what are these guys? Well, they're essentially 11 Pokemon of different stages of evolution, so basic, stage 1, stage 2. And these Pokemon essentially are just like much tougher, much bigger versions of the island Pokemon that are resident to Alola. And essentially these guys just act as a bit like guardian deities, I guess, in the stead of the legend guardians like Tapu Bulu, Tapu Lele, and Tapu Koko. And these essentially just hanged around the gym leader and acted as another obstacle. And of course, one of their main characteristics was that they were able to search for, or like call for help in a way, and search for another Pokemon to aid them in battle. So as we see on the top right corner here, we've got Goomshoes looking for Yungoos to come out to play. So I figured if they were ever implemented into the TCG, they would all like share this ability that let them search your deck for a basic or something of the similar type, and just essentially have a call for family-esque style ability. So why I think Pokemon Break, a sort of like return to Pokemon Break, I guess, would have been a good way of putting in totem Pokemon, is that totems are from three different stages of evolution, as we mentioned before. So basic, stage 1, stage 2. So we have the likes of Alolan Raticate, for example. We have Vikavolt, and we have Togedemaru or Mimikyu. So just having single prize Pokemon at different stages of evolution kind of makes sense to use Break or like base it off Pokemon Break, since Zoroark Break and Lugia Break were from their respective evolutions. So Zoroark Break evolved from Zoroark, Lugia Break evolved from Lugia, which was a basic. So I do think this just makes a lot of sense, and that's maybe how it should have gone about it. If I really had to say how I would have personally done it, I would have had the totem Pokemon as Pokemon breaks, and then they all just had like increased HP, and then they all shared the ability that allowed you to search your deck for additional basics. Of course, this would probably rely on the Pokemon that they evolved from actually being good and decent, but I do think it would have been at least an interesting mechanic to see in the TCG. Obviously, it doesn't have to be Pokemon Break, they could have done something completely different, but I do think it's strange that we really didn't see any mention of Totem Pokemon at all in TCG. Almost the same for Z Crystals, which made up the bulk of the main mechanic, but I did include Z Crystals in here just because there was like limited space and I didn't really want to, but either way, Totem Pokemon, very strange that they didn't make it in. So my third point, my final point, is a return to teams, which is something that I've personally wanted to see in the TCG for a long time now, having played a lot of Legacy and Expanded, where there is stuff like Genesect DX and Team Plasma. So essentially, if you're not familiar with like the history of the card game, I guess, then Team Pokemon were essentially a group of cards, be it Pokemon, trainers, stadiums, and energy, they're all based around a team. So it was Team Rocket at one point. There has been Team Plasma is like the most infamous one, I would say. Team Magma and Team Aqua were another really big one that made up the bulk of the Ruby and Sapphire, I want to say, Ruby and Sapphire era, Omega Ruby, Omega Sapphire. And so, of course, I just figured why not return to teams for Sun and Moon? I know this maybe wouldn't have, this is like something that's potentially quite hard to balance, I guess, but I do think it's strange that we just never really saw these interactions. It's so simple to do as well because you can just have supporters like Team Skull, Guzma and stuff interacting with either Guzma's Galissapod or, Crobats, Golbats, as we see here with the Team Skull logo. So just interacting with all their Pokemon as we see in the anime series and stuff. It just seems strange that it was just like never implemented, I guess. This is also something that could have been done in Sword and Shield with Team Yell. They could have done stuff with, Obstagoon and whatnot and all the Pokemon they use, and that never happened as well. So I don't think we'll see it returning anytime soon, but I do think it's a little bit strange. And this does seem like the best set to do it for, at least in the last three sets, because, we've had like Po Town in the Sun and Moon games, and that's like a perfect location to base a stadium off. We did see a Po Town Stadium card actually, but it's like besides the point, it didn't really interact with any of the Team Skull Pokemon or the Team Skull trainers, all just like based around disruption, but they're missing like the crucial link. There was never a Team Skull badge, really. There was never a Team Skull supporter that interacted with Team Skull Pokemon, is what I'm trying to say. And Guzma just not interacting with Glisspod. I think there was some synergy between Guzma as a trainer card and Glisspod GX. Guzma allowed you to switch one of your opponent's active Pokemon when they're benched, and then you got to switch your active. So it was kind of like a boss's order, but also a switch. And so, like, that interacted with a Glisspod that had a first impression attack that did 30 and then 90 damage more if it moved from the bench to the active. So, the whole idea was you Guzma something up and then promote Glisspod and smack for 120. That was a whole deck. But, just seeing some more synergy, I guess, between supporters and Pokemon. Because otherwise, what it feels like right now is there's this, like, bar, I guess, the occasional Cynthia and Garchomp combo. There's been, like, very minimal combos between supporters, trainers, and Pokemon themselves, and it's more just like trainers are there to support Pokemon, but we never see trainers that really interact with Pokemon anymore, and I think that's a bit of a shame, to be honest. So, obviously, thanks for watching, and let me know what you would add down below, if I missed out anything really obvious. And yeah, thank you for watching. It's been a different kind of video. Let me know what you think, how it's gone and stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.